This water is an enormous issue. And let me just, for a moment here, just turn to something that will make your head spin. Up Bundaberg Way, there is a thing called the Paradise Dam. This defies belief. Australians can't get their head around this stuff. This is a story, a water story of incompetence and dishonesty. And these two descriptions apply to water policy across the country. But to Queensland. Firstly, we're told the Queensland Government is going to lower the dam wall at Paradise Dam because only 11% of the water is used. That doesn't make sense. Pauline Hanson's been agitating for issues in relation to Paradise Dam to be rectified. Even though geographically you may not be involved about the story, bear with me because this demonstrates government and water policy completely at odds with common sense. On August 22, this Paradise Dam was listed for, quote, improvement. You'll see some pictures here, as part of a $70 billion infrastructure spend on 25 Queensland projects. Well, I'd then been sent a story from Pauline Hanson's office way back in 2006 that the dam was leaking. And the then member for Burnett, Rob Messenger, asked for an investigation. He raised the matter in Parliament, this is 2006, saying he'd been contacted by people who believed the dam was leaking. The then Infrastructure Minister in Anna Blight's government dismissed the rumours by saying she'd spoken to Sunwater, who simply said there were no leaks in the Paradise Dam. The member, Rob Messenger, said he didn't believe a casual phone call or a chat with Sunwater was good enough. That was 2006. Well, lo and behold, I learned then last week, thanks to Judy, who rang me on my radio open line, that this mob, Sunwater, the mob responsible for developing, operating and managing regional bulk water supply and infrastructure, they're a statutory Queensland government-owned corporation. They're supposed to supply bulk water to over 5,000 customers. They're supposed to supply water consultancy services to a range of clients in the Wide Bay, Burnett and northwest regions of Queensland. Sunwater, they've admitted, listen to this, they're going to release, remember we're in the middle of a drought, 105,000 megalitres from this Paradise Dam in the Bundaberg region, which is drought declared, and that will permanently reduce the dam's capacity for, quote, safety reasons. This was the dam that opened in 2006. Then suddenly they said it was leaking. It has a 300,000 megalitre capacity. It's currently 75% full. It was apparently damaged by floods in 2011 and 2013. But an email to Bundaberg irrigators on September 24, Sunwater said this, quote, releases have commenced from Paradise Dam ahead of the 2019-20 wet season to proactively reduce the dam's water storage level to 42%. Quote, while the dam is safe under normal and current forecast weather conditions, detailed investigations have shown that there are issues with the dam in the unlikely event of another 1 in 200-year event like 2013. And then we're told that releasing the water will help the drought-ravaged region. So this Natural Resources Minister, Anthony Lynham, has said we're releasing 80,000 megalitres into a drought-affected community. He said Bundaberg and its regions are suffering from drought, so the water will be well received. We're hoping all the water will be taken up by farmers. It will help them immensely during this difficult time. This is 32,000 Olympic swimming pools. We're told it will be made available free of charge to irrigators along the Burnett River for approximately 10 weeks. Doesn't this sound fantastic? Except irrigators have said they're shocked by the decision and much of the water will go straight out to sea. Pauline Hanson is all over this and she joins us now from Rockhampton, not far from this dam. Pauline, good evening. Thank you for your time. What is all this about?
Good evening, Alan. Well, it is. I went to Colston Lakes and I had a talk with the farmers there. They're devastated because of the drought that's happening in their region. If they had plenty of water, they could have production of over $700 million that will bring to the economy. They are actually one of the richest growing areas in agriculture, even far greater than that of the Lockyer Valley. Now, they've been crying out, screaming out for a pipeline to go from Paradise Dam to Colston Lakes, and it would also assist Biggendon and other surrounding areas. The governments have not come forward to put in the pipeline, and it's about 35 kilometres of pipeline, if that. Now, I've spoken to the federal government about putting in the pipeline, which they are quite interested in looking at. And remember, this has been going on for years, since the dam was basically built. And the state government says, well, no one's using the water. Of course they can't use the water because they can't get the water, and no one's put in pipelines so that the farmers can get the water. So now the government, and of course it was reported by Messenger that there was a leak in the dam. And I know that the Newman government, the cabinet spoke about a leak in the dam and money was to be put towards it to repair the dam. But because they were thrown out of government, nothing has been done about it. Now, because they won't put the money into repairing the dam, now the dam cost $240 million to build. Now that they won't repair the dam, they believe that, well, let's just lower it because no one's using the water. To lower the wall of the dam is going to cost the same amount as what it will be to repair the dam, as my understanding. So it's sheer bloody mindedness. They're not drought-proofing Queensland, keeping the water that we have, build the pipeline, give the water to the people they need, and releasing this water into the oceans. It's going to have an effect, Pauline, because all this water going into the Great Barrier Reef, it's not going to help fresh water on the reef.
I had a letter from a farmer this week, and he said this: I struggled, farmer right there in that region, I struggle to comprehend how a decision like this could be made when we have areas of Queensland in the worst drought for a long period of time. We've had fires where the firefighters have struggled to find water to put fires out. Many growers aren't in a position to use the water at this time. They may not even have crops in the ground. In reality, many of our crops won't reach peak water usage until Christmas. It's devastating. You look around and it's dry everywhere. So here they are, just going to tip this water into the ocean in the middle of drought. Who have you spoken to?
That's right. Alan, I haven't spoken to anyone about this at the moment. I've been out of the country. I just got back on Monday morning, and I'm actually been considering taking a class action or putting an injunction against the state government that they can't lower this. I've heard also they intend to have it lowered by May next year. The state election is in October. I want the people of Queensland to be up in arms against the Palaszczuk government with regards to this. Like I said, this is sheer bloody mindedness. I've been, advocating for the hybrid Bradfield scheme to bring water down central Queensland and flow it into the Murray-Darling, to turn back the water from the Clarence River inland so we can water inland New South Wales. Water is the blood of this nation, and yet our governments are reluctant to actually deal with the water issue that we have. I can't understand it.
Pauline, Anastasia Palaszczuk has said the decision was made for safety reasons. What's that mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? She has no understanding of it, how devastated these communities are because they don't have water. I've got Biggerton there. They shut down the pub, the cafe, and now the hairdresser is going. The newsagent's gone. It devastates the whole town. The farmers, they don't know what to do. They're throwing their hands up in the air. Finally, I've got the farmers, before the Minister for Finance, Matisse Cormann, to actually look at getting the pipe. They said, we couldn't believe it. We've been advocating for this for over 20 years to get a pipeline. Finally, they said, we've finally got a meeting before the Minister for this. So they are considering putting the pipeline within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, Anastasia then says, open up the floodgates and let the water out, because maybe they've heard that the government was wanting to put in pipeline.
105,000 megalitres. 105,000 megalitres.
And it's pouring.
And they say we can't use the water because Pauline says there's no pipeline. So the pipeline, everyone wants the water. So what do? Lower the dam levels. On the chance, Pauline, that it'll be 1 in a 200-year flood emergency. What?
Ridiculous. Anastasia might be a great mate of mine, but this one doesn't sound good.
Basically, I see the mayor.
Sound good.
No.
And
Go on.
I cannot understand why the federal government cannot stop it, step in here and take control of the water in these states, because it is a national security. If we don't have water, we can't run our country. We can't feed ourselves. Well, I do not understand why the federal government cannot step in.
Well, I see the member for Burnett, and this confirms what you've just been saying, Pauline. Stephen Bennett said locals are in tears over the announcement. He said, the industry woke up, this is the rural industries, agriculture, woke up this morning with no indication this was going to happen. People have found it distressing. No one in their right mind would, particularly in a drought, allocate every last drop of water out of the Paradise Dam. We need the water. Water is life. In a drought, would you prefer excess water or no water? Now, there's 105,000 megalitres of water saying, and then they gloss it over by saying, oh, the farmers need it. The farmers haven't got any crops, have they, to irrigate, Pauline? They haven't got any crops in.
They haven't been able to. That's right. One peanut grower, he actually only produced 40 tonnes this year, whereas last year, the year before, it was 150 tonnes. So his production is way down because they don't have the water. The irrigators don't have it. Then they're not only not getting the water, but they're slapped high electricity costs. A lot of the farmers are walking away from their lands. They're telling their kids, don't continue in farming. There's no future for it. I don't know where we're going to head with all this, Alan.
I don't either.
And you know, I still question about water from years ago, and I'm so angry with the federal government because they privatised water. You know, here we have 20% of our water is in foreign ownership, 15% of the water licences is owned by foreigners. They are not building the infrastructure. They want more immigration into the country. They're not putting in the water infrastructure that we need. They're not really helping the farmers. I don't care what they do. They are not doing enough to you know, help this land.
I may have my differences with you, Pauline, but you are dead right on this.
Graham, listen to this. Listen to this, though. Millions of litres, this is the reality. It's hard to get your head around this. Millions of litres of water are being wasted every hour. And as I speak to you, the water now sits several metres, Pauline, does it not, below the spillway, but the Queensland government continue to leave the gates open and release water. I mean, this is beyond belief.
Yeah.
This is vandalism.
And it is. It is, and that's why I'm going to look into it. And I've asked one of my legal advisors to actually give me some direction on this, if we can put an injunction against the state government to actually stop this lowering of the dam. If I can get, with the LNP, get control of the Queensland state government, I will promise the people to actually repair that dam and put in pipelines working with the federal government. We will get water security in the state of Queensland. I'm sick of these governments that hold the people to ransom, don't do the job, don't listen to people, their sheer arrogance. I'm fed up with it, and so is the people of Queensland and Australia for that matter.
Good on
and
you.
On that note, Alan, I've got to congratulate you on your about the dairy industry this morning. Now, I'm going to push to get that industry regulated again. It breaks my heart to hear what's happening to the dairy farmers. And this is all government. Government's intervention is destroying this country. They have no bloody idea what is happening out in our communities and to the people of this nation. So I will work, and hopefully with you, to actually get the dairy industry regulated again. And I thank you for pushing this issue for the people of Australia.
Thank you, Pauline. Well, thank you for your time tonight, Pauline. It's just staggering. That's a story that's not believable, simply not believable. 105,000 megalitres of water, and instead of repairing the infrastructure, they're choosing to knock the dam's capacity down. Just for the benefit of our viewers to understand what Pauline's talking about, because with Peter last night we talked to that farmer, and when Pauline talks about regulating the industry, basically that means having a floor price for milk. So there has to be a point below which the price for the farmer can't fall, and that floor price should be set. We have managed to shame Coles into now announcing a $1 million donation to relief for the farmers, but the dairy farmers are walking off. They are slaughtering dairy cows. Now, if you start slaughtering breeding stock, absolutely. And this is a crisis. But the federal government, Morrison and co, won't announce it as a national disaster. I was just talking about dairy farmers, but beef farmers are the same. All farmers. And now here we've got this crisis in Queensland. 105,000 megalitres of water being released from the Bundaberg Dam for quote-unquote safety reasons. Instead of using money to improve the infrastructure of the dam, what they're doing is reducing the dam's capacity. In this climate, can you please tell me that makes sense? We could talk about it all night.